Hey everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today I'm going to dive into something that so many of us struggle with. It's very common, and that is social anxiety. And there's social anxiety that many people experience, and there's social anxiety disorder, which is diagnosable, basically a higher level, raising that bar of social anxiety. Have you ever felt your heart race in a crowd, or that endless spiraling thought of, what if I look stupid? What if I say the wrong thing, or do the wrong thing, or hurt somebody, offend somebody, those types of things? You're not alone if you have. Many of us do struggle with that. And today I'm here to unpack what happens in social anxiety and to help put you at ease a little bit. So stick around because I am going to offer some tips to help manage the social anxiety as well. And I have shared in other videos, I have social anxiety. Didn't realize it until I was much older, but I have had it my whole life. And so I'm going to share a little bit from the personal perspective of it, but also from a psychotherapist, because that's what I do. Okay. So what is social anxiety? Social anxiety is that overwhelming feeling of self-consciousness. So it's about not only about being in crowds, but yes, it is about being in crowds too, because the more people, the more chances I have to be stupid, right? It's the self-consciousness, it's the overthinking, it's going over conversations that you had afterwards and analyzing everything you said and people's facial expressions and all of that. It is shaky, sweaty, and then that's embarrassing. I don't want people to see that. It's feeling a lack of confidence in things. It's perfectionism, because if I'm perfect, then nobody can judge me. Essentially, social anxiety is a fear of judgment, and it comes with, self-deprecating language. It comes with fears of what people are going to think about you, say to you, whether you're going to look dumb is something I hear all the time and have thought myself, right? If your brain is constantly whispering, are they going to judge me? I bet you they're judging me. Or you're in the kitchen making dinner, and all of a sudden something you did when you were 19 years old pops in your head and you're like, I can't believe I did that. Why would I do that? That's social anxiety. And honestly, when that pops in your head, which happens to me too, I now say, you're the only one that probably remembers that. And you were 19. Who cares, right? I have to tell myself that. So it could show up in ways like avoiding parties, that dialogue that I just told you, that internal dialogue where you're fearing that someone's going to judge you. And those of us with social anxiety judge ourselves far more than anyone else would judge us. It might come up in how you perceive. I know I saw them look at me like that. You're probably projecting that insecurity onto them, right? One thing that people say is, I walk in the room, people with social anxiety won't arrive late for something like a class or something that's quiet where they can't just slide in, because if they walk into a room, people look at them, automatically they say, oh, they're judging me for being late, or what I'm wearing, or my hair, or I've gained weight, or whatever it may be, when really they probably looked at you because there was emotion coming into the room. They're probably not thinking any of those things about you. You may fear being the center of attention. That is social anxiety. I do these videos and I speak at events. It doesn't mean that I just come up and, oh yeah, let's do this thing. It means that I am preparing myself. I am doing figure 8 breathing by trying the 8 on my leg. I am feeling nauseous. I am putting myself out there to do it, and I'm using all of my strategies. But social anxiety is that intense fear, right? It's not just being nervous. Social anxiety disorder is not just being nervous. It is that intense fear. And you need to implement strategies to work through it. And so presenting, I often say when I'm assessing, just for how to gear treatment, things like, even if you know the answer, do you put up your hand just in case, if it's school, just in case you might get it wrong. And every person with social anxiety disorder or symptoms of social anxiety will say, absolutely not. Because A, what if I get it wrong and people think I'm dumb, stupid? Those are the two common ones. Or B, the minute I open my mouth, everybody looks at me and there's like a spotlight on me and I feel hot, and then I get sweaty and I feel shaky and my voice cracks or my lip goes or something happens, and then like holy judgment. It could be something like talking on the phone, although not many people do that now. It could be ordering something on the phone, ordering something at a counter, bringing stuff back. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. You don't want to look badly in the eyes of other people. You don't want to be judged. You go over and over and over things you say, things you do, after and before. You rehearse, and then sometimes you still can't do it. So why do we experience social anxiety? There's no clear-cut way or reason, but some things could be genetics. You could have a genetic predisposition to anxiety. I've done a podcast on the messages that we receive before the age of 8 and what could be happening with that. And so the messages that we receive, if they make you feel less than, inadequate, you're judged a lot as a child in those formative years, that or as a teenager, or it can be as an adult too, it could develop, but usually it's earlier. If you have those experiences where you're compared to other people, you're judged, so those childhood experiences, then that can create social anxiety. It can create a core belief that you're inadequate, you're not good enough, people judge you, and so it creates social anxiety or it can create social anxiety and perfectionism. Think of social anxiety in this way. Our brains are wired to protect us, even if it's not something that is concrete, right? Even if it's anxiety brain creating it, I'll say it like that, because anxiety is not rational. It feels very real. I know that person is thinking that of me. I know I sounded ridiculous. No, you don't know. It's not rational. There's no concrete evidence to prove it unless somebody says you're ridiculous. And that might be that one person's opinion. Many people say it. Okay, I might need to think about how I'm speaking to people. But usually it can be an imagined thing. But the amygdala, the stress response center in your brain, creates a narrative that it is accurate and real. It can come up by how our brain is wired to, as well as those core beliefs and the childhood experiences that I just spoke about. Those past experiences. Core beliefs are rooted, they're embedded in us. It doesn't mean we can't change them, and with cognitive behavior therapy is a very effective way to change those beliefs, and that is what I used to change my social anxiety. It is almost managed. I say almost because those thoughts still come up and they will forever come up. But I am much more confident. I think the older I get, the more confident I get in things. I can challenge them. I use cognitive behavior therapy. I challenge those thoughts. And I also implement a lot of Mel Robbins' Let Them theory into my life. And so I have managed, again, almost. I still have to challenge them. It's not like it's completely gone, right? And here's the thing. Many people experience social anxiety. It's common. A social anxiety disorder is one of the most prevalent anxiety disorders. It is common, and the society that we live in now with, we're not interacting with humans as much. We aren't calling people to kind of do that exposure therapy, right? It's texting, we're behind screens. When we come face to face with people, then it's like the anxiety comes up even more. It is that overwhelming fear that you're going to say or do the wrong thing, that people are going to judge you. So if you're not interacting with people, that goes down a little bit. But because we're not interacting with people, it's actually more prevalent because A, we're not interacting with people, and B, with social media and other forms of always being connected, and what we see on social media, and the way people lash out, keyboard warriors and that kind of thing when they're behind a screen and not face to face, that can increase that judgment because people are judging. That doesn't mean that it's personal to you. It means that there's people out there, I think we call them trolls, right? That just, they get fueled by trashing people on the internet and commenting things that aren't really relevant to what you're doing or that sort of thing. Anyway, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I think it might have just gone into a lot of detail, but just looking at, why we experience it as, childhood experiences, previous experiences, it could be into adulthood, core beliefs that are developed in childhood, maybe some genetic predispositions that, there's other people in your family have anxiety or social anxiety as well. You may be raised in a family that could develop this core belief, but you could be raised in a family that images everything, and you're not allowed to express yourself or anything because of how people might see us, and that's the way you're raised. So then you develop that core belief that people are going to judge me. I need to be perfect. And how does it impact our lives? Well, it really impacts your life. Any mental health issue does. I get that, right? Social anxiety, human beings are inherently social. They're social creatures, and we are social creatures. And so there's not much in life that we do that isn't some sort of social. Even if you are gaming online or social media, posting things, whatever it may be, that's still social. That still opens us up to vulnerability. If you're social anxiety, you get imposter syndrome, or you don't feel confident enough to do things, that can impact work and school. It can impact relationships, finding relationships, whether that's friendships or romantic relationships, because of, putting yourself out there, that judgment, lacking self-confidence, all of those things. People say, oh, it's just in your head. It's not just in your head. First of all, there's a lot of physical symptoms attached to it, but I don't like when people say, oh, it's just in your head. Well, yeah, because it's mental health. It is in my head. But they're saying it in a derogatory way. You're not making it up. Your brain is perceiving situations this way due to past experiences, core belief, whatever it may be. So when we say it's just in your head, that's saying you're making it up. No. It impacts our lives in so many ways. Like I said, work, school, relationships, attending school that we may not do that programs because we don't think we can do it. The amount of time for someone who has social anxiety, more so when I was younger doing this, but the amount of time I spent when I was younger going over what I said to people, how they perceived me. Did I say the wrong thing? Did I offend anybody? I can't believe I said that. Literally doing the cringe when I would think about it. I still do that sometimes, right? The amount of time that would go through my head, the amount of time that I would get down on myself because I had planned to host this event and didn't have enough time to make stuff, or the amount of time that I put into making things and redoing things so they were perfect. The amount of time that I spent doing my master's and other things with my finger over the submit button, like an hour or more, sometimes, I kid you not, because I would have to reread it and reread it, because what if they didn't think, oh, there's my cat. Well, here you go, creating videos. My cat, has decided to join me. This is a really good way to help with social anxiety. Hi. Anyway, impromptu, see? How much I've improved, because normally I would be, the old me would have been, oh, I need to start over. This is life. I have a cat and he likes to come and join me in my recliner. So, but going back to the amount of time, I would literally sit, with my finger over the button and going and reread the assignment, just in case. What if the professor thought that I couldn't be a therapist? Or what if they thought I was stupid? What if I got it all wrong? What if I, thought how I was supposed to do it wasn't how it was supposed to be done? What if my mark isn't good enough? And I had to go through and say, how many times have you gotten poor grades or poor comments or anything like that. Never. So I had to go through that, and then I would hit submit and I would feel nauseous. That is exhausting, and that is what it's like to have social anxiety. So how does it impact our lives? It impacts our lives greatly. You know, if you've ever felt like this, you're not alone. And there are ways that you can manage your social anxiety. And so the first one is breathe. Take the time, breathe it out. Deep belly breaths, diaphragm breathing. My cat's loving this right now, and he's a little distracting, but that deep breath in through your nose until you can't anymore, and out through your mouth until you can't anymore. Take those breaths, slow it down, allow the signal to get to your prefrontal cortex. Flip the script, right? Meaning challenge those thoughts, the things that I said. How many times have I failed? How many times have I got a bad mark? You're the only one that remembers that. Pull out the facts of the situation. Ask yourself, what evidence do I have to prove this thought, this anxious thought, and what evidence do I have to contradict it? Socratic questioning. Okay? Take baby steps. When it's social events, don't avoid all social events, because that is just increasing or strengthening your giving in muscle. You're giving into those thoughts, and it becomes harder and harder to do it. So just at first, go to events that you feel comfortable with. Have an escape route. Drive so that you can leave if you have to. Bring a trusted friend to come with you so that, you have somebody there with you. And I would also say recognize the progress that you've made, right? Use memory cards such as, okay, yes, I'm feeling really anxious about this. Last time I was feeling this way. I pushed through, I challenged it, and it all worked out. So I'm going to try it again, okay? Maybe try to attend similar events. So if you did have a successful outing, then try again. Something similar, because then you can use that experience. Okay, so I hope you stuck around. If you have any questions, please drop us a comment, like the video to help us out, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Know that you're not alone in this, and there are ways to manage your social anxiety so that it doesn't control your life. You control it, okay? And small steps, self-compassion, slow down that self-critic, be kind to yourself, challenge those thoughts. It can be done. I did it. And it's not because I'm a therapist. I use the strategies that I teach my clients to do. And it can be done. All right. Thank you for hanging out with me today and doing a little info on social anxiety. And remember, you're not alone in this journey. And as always, take care of you.